Okay, so let's start with a disclaimer. This meeting will be recorded today. For those of you that could not make it, we'll have a little replay up for you. This is The Seasonal Soul, brought to us by Lauren Aletta. This is a beautiful book. I have an email out to Lauren Aletta to let her know we are pursuing her book as a group in case she has any pointers, recommendations, or how she saw the progress of this book working with people. As an author, as an author, did I just say that? It feels so unreal. As an author, it's nice to be able to speak into people what you saw in your book, as well as what they see in your book, because we all know that written word does not always come out as spoken word, as we all know from text messages and Facebook messages and everything else. Some of us are phone people, some of us are text message people. I am of the older clan probably because I do love a good phone conversation. You know, I find that that is the best way to speak to people and have a comfort level and understand them. You can't really understand someone from a text message. It gets lost in translation. So this book was brought to me by another woman in the circle, Vicky. I'm sure you all know her. She's in the Cauldron Cackle constantly. Vicky brought this book to me and she's like, you really got to check this out. It's a fantastic book. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to dive into hell, I'm going to take all of you with me. So this is this year's book. Okay. So this is The Seasonal Soul. If you all have your book, it's beautiful. It's lovely. It lends beautifully to coloring and adorning. No, you don't have to color your book, but if you're like me and you have colored pencils and you're 10, this is what you do, right? When you're looking through something. So let's just start out with this concept of, this year we started with we seasonally are planning. Okay, that's the way we're approaching this. There's some winter planner pages coming your way. Some of them influenced by this book, some of them influenced by my Wee Moon, some of them influenced by another book I'm currently reading called Little Women. These are all books that are influencing what I read right now. But you're also going to get some blank pages in that planner. And if you've already bought the planner bundle, you're going to get it in an email. You're not even going to have to look for it. Okay. We're going to have a whole fucking Feral planning tab up in the learning portal. I know the website's confusing for some people. I know you're overwhelmed. We will be happy to meet with you one on one, any of the admins, any of the assistants to help you get through the website. I had a meeting right before the Yule holiday with someone, the solstice, and she needed help navigating the website. I was happy to help her. If we ever need tour guide Barbies, we'll set them up and we'll get you a tour guide Barbie and she will drive you through the web page. Yes, it is cluttered. Yes, it is magnificent. And yes, it is my stomach that just throws it all out there. So you are looking at my creative throw up all over the website. Sorry about that. So when we are looking at this, I want you to look into what season really speaks to you. Just because you're born in a season doesn't mean that is your season. And I know that's a hard concept for some people. Um, for the longest time, I'm a September baby, right before Mabon. I really felt Mabon. I really felt that energy. The older I get, the more I enjoy winter and the more I enjoy the stop, the peace, the calm. I mean, yesterday I took you guys all out in the snow and it was different. It was different for me this year. It was quiet and I heard the birds and I heard the snow hitting the ground. I even like when it turns to sleet and you can really hear that difference. Winter allows us to quiet the outside world, come into our homes and our domiciles and really do that. And this book's going to ask you to look at each of those seasons and you may not realize it, but your season may have changed and you don't even realize it. Through these exercises in this book, you're going to examine them and look at them. So I have read all the way to spring. Okay. Now I have read to spring. I have not worked to spring. Do you understand that? I've read. I haven't worked. Today I asked you guys to go all into, just to page 11. That's really not that much in this book. That's a tiny, tiny bit. So when you're looking at this stuff, I want you to understand that each one of these pages, the author has a vision and she explains it to you in that first section. She explains to you what you're looking for with your soul self and your true self and those things along that line. So I want each of you, if do you have a journal with you today? Oh, Just made my little fucking much heart sing. I just made my heart sing. You have a you have a journal with you. I love this. Or if you don't, do you have some paper? Because like I got some paper. So I want you just to start this out in your journals before we get into this book. What season, and you don't have to do it right now. This is just something to think about in this coming week while we're starting to do the process of reading. Write what season currently resonates with you and what you're really feeling. Okay? There's going to be reading that we're focusing on, but you can go into the season you're feeling if that's how you want to do this. This is not a, you got to do it this way. That is not what we're doing here. This is an intuitive exercise. You have to work with your intuition to move into this book and get out of it what you want. We will be leading with the seasons that are currently here, but that does not mean that's where you need to stay. Sorry. When you guys step into this, you are really stepping back. And I want you to write for the first section. I designate this season as my home. Yeah, your home. Where does your wheel start for you? Where do you consider new for you? Some people consider Samhain. Some people consider Yule. Some people consider Ostara. What is your new moon? You are entitled to have your new moon, not the new moon that the entire witch world thinks you need to. I know TikTok says you're not. I I have a new philosophy. Fuck TikTok. You don't have to do what they say. They not the boss of me. They not the boss of me. I can do what I want. Okay. So you guys have to step back and you really, if you're going to be feral, you got to make fucking choices for yourself. Okay. I can teach you things, like the magic carpet and the genie. I can show you new worlds. I could take you to amazing fucking places inside your fucking head. But I can't make the seasons connect with you. That is your Lego job. Okay? If you want to be singing Everything is Awesome, I spend way too much with kids' TV. If you want to be singing Everything is Awesome and you want to connect with these seasons, you need to find the ones that fucking resonate with you. That's important. Muy importante. Number one, what season is your home? Okay? Under that, why is that season your home? Why? I hope someone's writing these down for me because this shit's channeling. So I hope you guys are writing these bitches down. The next step I want you to do is I want you to sit into this place with, if I was to set an altar to be a new me, what needed to be on there? What are your correspondences? What calls to you? This is your seasonal soul. Your soul resides in that season. And once you have these things, set that altar, one white candle in the center. Everything else, that's icing on the cake. This is you. If you want to learn to weave and you want to learn to walk with intention and your own direction, you're fueling your tank now. I can't fuel your tanks anymore. I can give you the map. I can give you the bag of tools, but you have to make the decision to take this journey. This book is a journey. This book is an intense journey if you take it. And I'm not talking about these book clubs of the past where you've all been to, we've all been to them. Okay, we're going to read chapter 1. How did you feel? When did it work for you? When did it touch you? It shouldn't be touching you unless you give it permission, okay? So listen, what did they say the other day? Everything's consensual. The universe does not need to be holding you down by the neck and telling you what to do. You have decision-making abilities. I know you do. Deep down inside of you, there's a more assertive witch waiting to come out. Let's dig her out, okay? And some of you, I know she's there on the surface because I get her in emails. Listen, sissy. I'm like, there she is. There's the bitch I was looking for. That's the one I wanted. I need you guys to step in to your sacred power. Sacred power is naming your season, naming your correspondence, Do you notice you're associating yourself as your own deity? I love that for us. So you can be naked or you can strap yourself in gold, however you want to do this. But you need to hold yourself sacred in that season. That needs to be your stepping point forward. Now, do deities die season to season? No, they take a fucking rest, right? If it's your season to shine in one season, the next one you're going to be like, gotta pull back and regroup a little bit, get my shit together, clean up the space, get some stuff put away, get some new stuff out. You're going to need moments of rest in your season. So, what are the seasons you want to rest in as your next choice? When will I rest? You need to rest. You cannot be on 24/7. That's fucking exhausting. I did it for a whole year. Remember? We spent every Sunday together. I was like, hi, bitches, what's up? Now I'm like, oh, who is that bitch and why could she do that? I don't know. What the hell is wrong with her? Do you understand? You cannot always be on for everybody. Now look at your month. This is going to apply to some and not all, okay? But even the ladies that are no longer in the horrible bleeding section with us, okay, that you've been brought up to crone status, you've been removed from this bullshit. All hail you. You are my queens, okay? I can't wait till I'm up in Queenland with you, okay? I hate being down. Hate this, okay? Hate this. But if you bleed, those 7 days are important. If you don't bleed, what days of the month do you fucking hate everybody? Don't tell me you don't, because I know you do. You still have days you fucking hate everybody. I fucking get it. Believe me. As I say all the time, people bleh, hate that. There's a reason I live in my house. I'm in the process of making myself a flannel right now that has the hermit card embroidered on the back of it. Fucking done with people, okay? Come on, shut down. So when we step into this, what seasons are you going to rest in? What days of the month are you going to pull back and be sacred for you? It can revolve around a moon. Are you full of yourself at dark moon? I know I'm full of my full self at dark moon. I'm a straight up bitch. Don't ever write me on dark moon if you don't like me. That is not the day you want to come in contact with me, I assure you. That is my full on, I fucking hate the world when I open my eyes day. Okay. New moon, it gets a little better 2 or 3 days after. Hey, we're good. What's up, homie? But that day, no, you don't want to talk to me. I hate everything about everything in the whole fucking world. Okay. So I know this about myself. So that has been my day. I choose to rest. I pull back. I pull into this space where I'm nurturing myself. I'm eating the thing. I'm reading the things. I'm coloring in the books. I'm spending the time away from people. As your own personal deity, you have to know when it is time to sit up on your altar, eat your chocolate covered cherries, and say, fuck the world. Okay. This book is going to help you with that. So we chose our season, right? We chose why we think it's our season. We chose our altar that we would need. We chose our day, our season of rest and our days of rest. Finally, why is this book something you're choosing to do? And if you write because the LHC is doing it, you need to leave the book club now. This book has to have a meaning for you. This has to be something you want to do. You are not just here to hang out with everybody. Okay. We can all hang out in slumber parties, retreats, shit talking tea time. This is a intuitive exercise. This is a task we're taking on. We are stepping forward. We are badass Girl Scouts, and this is our book. Okay. And this will be our book till next year at this time. And then we'll find another totally occupying book for the year. I promise. I promise. I see good things with this book. So as we go into this, you read the first part and she explains to you why she wrote the book. And then on this page 9 is the most beautiful, beautiful phrase that she writes. You can never be lost. There is a wonderful and ever-present map within you, alongside a strong guiding force propelling you onward. Lean forward into your adventure and walk into the woods with me. I love that. If you go to a retreat with me, this is like says this is the shit I say. When you come out of the house, I'm like, do you want to follow me to the woods? And everybody's like, nope, nope. It's kind of how it works though. What do you think that strong guiding force that's propelling you is? Write it in your book, write it in your journal. What do you think that force is? I got a couple ideas. I got a couple ideas what the strongest force you can possibly have is. Any of you have ideas? You can share them. This is your time to unmute and share. This is part of the book club. Okay, chickens.
I
This
would
will
say
be a participating book club.
I'm up.
Lisa?
I would say intuition or your
Okay,
spirit.
I like that. Anyone else?
Gut instinct.
That was Sarah, right?
Yep.
Oh, I'm good at name that voice. Let's play this game. I wasn't even looking. Next.
I would say it's my soul self.
Is that Alicia?
Yes, it is.
The ability to sniff out the bullshit.
Oh, I know who that is. What's up, Wolf Woman?
Ow.
No.
You know,
Desire, sorry,
no, go ahead.
desire to grow.
Yes. Yes. So when you put all these things together, what does it sound like we've been looking for the whole time? Our personal spark, our personal Awen, our personal source. This book is a journey to source. You know all that shit I'm bitching about in the cackle about I'm sick of maintaining the fire, and you're all like, I'm here. I need you to come closer to the fucking fire. I can't see you. Okay? Like, I need you to come in. I need you to bring marshmallows and chocolate and blankets because I'm cold. These journeys are cold for us that are going to Awen. If you've gone to Awen and you've done this meditation and this solstice energy, you know we're cold. It's been a rough winter. Some of you are cold because you don't know what you're looking for and you're still out there wandering the edges of the forest. Do you have a new direction for your dedication on this new moon? Read into the book. Read a little bit into the book. Look at the things, excuse me, this coffee and me are not getting along today. Look into the things that are triggering you. Look into the things that are calling you. Usually, what is calling you is what you are calling in. Your soul, you're going to learn about your soul in here coming up in the next couple of pages. Your soul self. This is a beautiful, the Human Self, Soul Self book, page on 15. That's a definite read before new moon. You got to read that. Okay, you got to read that. You need to learn what your soul self is seeking. That means quieting your big mouth, you know, like I have this big mouth and these big ideas of what I think the year should be holding, of what I think things should be, and just letting your soul speak. How are you going to do that? I think all you bitches got some cards, don't you? Yeah, you got some cards. Pull a card for your sacred season. Pull a card for the new moon. Pull a rune. Whatever speaks to you. You know, we put that Feral Flyers page up, and I chose Othala for a reason. Not because the world told me to choose Othala. I didn't look at any other correspondences when I chose that rune, because your sacred space is important right now. This is where you're supposed to be living, in your sacred space, not everyone else's sacred space. This isn't go out and be community right now. This is taking care of your cave, taking care of your home, taking care of your needs, taking care of your spiritual practice. And I know everything about us teaches us to be social creatures, but sometimes it's okay to not be social. Sometimes it's okay to bring in and focus your fire just on your needs. If there's enough spark to light your face, you have enough. And having enough is a hard concept. This book covers that a lot. You're going to see it. We have a need for overabundance. We all do. I'm sitting in a hovel of overabundance right now. We were rearranging Caroline's room today. I do not recommend negative 10 out of 10. Okay. Like, I do not recommend doing your child's room after Christmas. No, 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 no. Okay. The even worse is going to be the hag hut in the next 2 days. When you do these things, these things are wonderful, and you think you needed all these things at one point. You don't. You don't need them all. What you need is what you're running away from by gathering all these things. This is time to look at the Pinterest board and look at the meaningful projects that you've pegged. And you'll notice that you've tagged them more than once. If it's something you really want to do, there's different versions of it all through the board. You need to make that one home and hearth decoration that speaks to you. You need to make that one tea that you like out of all your teas on your cupboard and focus on that tea for new moon. 3 days, drink the same tea. 3 days, use the same bath cleanse. 3 days, wear the same color outfit. Simplify your days to focus on your magic. That's part of that resting nature. When we simplify what we're doing, it not only allows the intuition to get louder, it quiets chaos goblins that we have that want us to do everything. And if you're like any normal witch, okay, new moon, I need this, 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 you don't need those things. You want those things. You've been taught to enjoy those things. You've been taught to seek those things. Well, what if you quiet it just this time, focused in like this book is suggesting, and asked what's calling for you? Before your dedication, see what's trying to speak to you, not what you're trying to call in. We spend a lot of time as magical workers demanding the universe of things. What if it's time to sit back and listen to what Source wants from us? Source puts you here for a reason. I don't care what you consider Source, okay? This is where I'm not going to split hairs, okay? Everybody believes in something different, and who's to say who's right, right? But we need to stop fighting about that point and just start fighting about the important things. What are we being called in to do? What are we being asked to stand for? What are we being asked to align with that we're ignoring because we're worried about what we want? What we want is not the focal point of the world. The world will run without our needs being met. We've all learned that somewhere along the line. And not every season do you have to kill yourself with some kind of shadow work. It's not necessary. We all do these workshops, and you're going to see a turn in the workshops this year. They're going to be more building workshops than tearing down workshops. We need to start building your temples. If you're going to have a time frame where you're a deity and you have altars, you need to have areas of your temple that are safe and secure for you to work in. Okay? Let's have a good heart space. Let's have a good home space. Let's have a good community space. And most importantly, let's have a good listening worship space. The sacred space that you hold for yourself in communion with Source is one of the most valuable items in your magical harness. If you do not have an ability to quiet yourself for at least 5 minutes a day and listen, you're missing a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean like a fucking shit ton boatload. That is a metric term, okay? Shit ton boatload. Do you understand? There are so many more things that you could be giving, you could be learning, and you could be growing from if you would try to look at the perspective from what am I missing? Not what I didn't buy, what I didn't gain, what a workshop I didn't go to, but what did I miss by just listening? The trees have a lesson. The bees have a lesson. The snow has a lesson. The mountains have a lesson. And, you know, we pass on and we become part of all these things. That's our belief system, correct? We're part of the world. We're part of the earth. We're part of these elements. And we teach people to call in the moons and do all this stuff and draw the moon into yourself. If you are not part of what is going on around you, how dare you bring the moon into you? That's pretty selfish. You're taking a whole lot of power when you haven't prepared a place for it to rest. So what first thing they teach new moons, new brooms, draw the moon into you. What the fuck do you do once you draw the moon into you if you don't know what to do with the fucking moon? Do you ever think about these things? Like I sit back and I think this is the shit that goes through my head in the bathtub. I don't know what you guys are thinking about. And I'm like, how much shit have I been doing wrong my whole life? How much shit have I been not thinking about before I do? You know, I'm sitting there with my divination cards and I love, if you've ever had a reading from me, you know I fucking love it. It's my shit. I fucking love a reading and we won't stop till I'm done. They go on and on and on. Okay. I love a fucking reading. But I'm asking of all these directions for you, and I'm asking all this wisdom to flow through me. Did I clear space for that wisdom to come in that day? Did I allow that open space, or was it I just put your appointment in the middle of a whole bunch of things that day? No, you need to be a sacred, prepared worker. If there's a lot going on in your life that day, you can't do that. And taking time for your seasons, you're going to get that. This divine timing. Oh, that shit I say to you all the time, and everybody gets so fucking mad. Why can't Sissy just push it out? Because it has divine timing. It has an alignment. If you run a magical business and you can hit every date like this, that magical worker is missing shit. They're missing shit because they're not pausing and listening for the next thing to be added. They're not going at the moment they feel it. They're not rolling that when they feel it. They're not sending that when they feel it. They're doing it to stick to a fucking schedule. Do not live your life by Sabbaths. It's nothing but a fucking schedule. It's nothing but a fucking schedule if you do not feel it in your bones. I feel solstice. That's why I celebrate solstice. I know it's the longest night. I feel the fear in solstice. Do any of you guys fear in winter solstice? I do. That night still triggers that ancestral gene in me of fear because it's so long and it's so dark. Yeah, we have candles. Yeah, we have electric. The wild hunt is real for some of us. We've connected to that energy and it's real and you can feel it. I ran in the house like a scared little 5-year-old on winter solstice. I was out by my fire. I was laying in a thing and I heard, ooh, ooh, ooh. I ran in the house. I'm like, okay, I will go back out when I get my shit together. And I ran back outside. But the thing is, you have to understand these emotions you have inside yourself are real and they're natural. When you connect like this, you're going to feel this. The human self and the soul self is the most important lesson to start this book. This is the key to this book. She's a fucking genius. She's a fucking genius. Because learning how to separate your, I want to say this, and it's going to sound really assholeish, but I'm going to say it. Your mythical self from your mystical self are two different things. So your mystical self is what you can become. Your mythical self is what you think you are. And I'm going to ask you to rewrite what you wrote today in about 2 seasons. And I guarantee it's going to change. Because when you stop to rest and you start to connect, you're going to get really fucking weird like some of us. And you're going to be calling me going, Sissy, do the trees tell us something that we don't understand? I'm going to be like, yeah, they do, bitch. Welcome here. Welcome to the camp. I got your marshmallows on your right and your sticks to the left. Here we go. It's different. When you learn to look at the world in an impossible manner, it changes your magic. The last year of my life, I've seen things that I never thought I'd see in my whole life. I've done things that I've never thought I'd do in my whole life. And you know what? I'm thankful because I didn't think I had that in me. You have to have moments that define you as a woman. You have them as a younger woman and you carry them with you, and that's your past self. And she comes up and she meets your present self once in a while. But what if you could have her all the time? She has a lot of wisdom that you've lived through and survived. You need to bring her with. You have to find a way to safely bring wondrous, wounded little you with you now as an adult. She's your soul self. That's all of you. You can't let any of it behind. Soul retrieval is so important in this process. And if you go in and look at these seasons, you're going to find things that connect you at that level and bring you forward. There's intense joy in certain seasons, and there's intense sorrow too. How many of you associate a particular holiday or season with a death of a loved one? You don't like that season anymore, do you? Why? Because it's sorrow. What if we can alchemize it to beautify the loss, appreciate all that you got in that season and all you got from that person, and take them like a tiny crystal and put them in and bring them with? That makes that season even playing field again. These seasons shouldn't be your enemies. You should be able to celebrate them for all they've brought you. We are just as powerful in our loss as we are in our triumphs. In fact, our losses make us better. This book is going to walk you through that. It's going to ask you to look at things in a different way. It's going to ask you to do a lot of steps and a lot of work. So this isn't something you're going to be able to fake, because it'll be like, okay, guys, how's everybody's letters looking? Let's share them and meet. You're all going to be like, fuck you. There's going to be a space in the forum for you to work this book. We need to have that space, and it needs to be sacred. A couple of these meetings will be the Facebook link, but everything else is going to move to the forum. And I will share it in the Alchemy Hearth as well, because I know some of you don't use the forum, okay? But you're not going to get the discussion like the forum. The forum's going to have a discussion tab constantly. I will still share the links in the Alchemy Hearth, because I know a lot of people prefer the Facebook way of doing things. When you move in to this book, I want you to, number one, dedicate a journal just to this book. I don't care if it's a composition book. Don't go buy a new journal. I am not giving you permission to go buy a new journal. If you want to, you can tell me what you bought, send me a screenshot. Maybe I will want one too. But I'm not telling you you should buy a new journal. I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but if it was me, I might do that. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's like, paper horse, hang your heads right now. But you need to dedicate a space to work in this. And you also need to dedicate a time in your week that you're going to dedicate to this. Okay. For some of us, that's easier than others. For others, that's going to be a huge challenge. But you're going to have to give this book at least 15, 20 minutes a week, at least, if not more. I find that it's really great to sit down with when I'm spacing out, like just when I've done a whole lot all day and I just need to sit back. The book's already beat for me. It's already beat from carrying it around. It's not a real sturdy book. I mean, but it should have a little life on it. You all got a little life on you. Some of you got some wrinkles and some gray hair. Yeah, a couple extra pounds. Some of us have tiger stripes from having some kids. We all got some wear, okay? Doesn't make a book any less valuable to you, all right? So stop acting like you can't carry your books around because they're sacred texts that belong in the Vatican. Start getting a fucking composition notebook that you can carry with you all the time. The goal of this year, and I sat over in a DGC class yesterday morning for a couple minutes with Casey, and she's doing this New Witch Who Dis. And what she's teaching is the ripple. What are you doing to reach out into the world? You need to think about what your ripple is. Are you a skipping stone that you hit a lot of things? Or are you just somebody who plops down in the water, makes your one impact, and you're done? You realize every wake you make hits someone else and it changes their life. If there's one thing I've learned in the LHC is these workshops change lives. These sisterhoods change lives. These friendships change lives. And when someone is selfish and unaware of their bullshit, that changes lives too. It does. There's good and bad in everything, and you have to identify that. Don't let one bad experience ruin your sisterhood experience. Do you understand what I'm saying? There has been some things that have happened to me in the last 3 months that I've thought of closing the doors on the LHC, just walking away because it was hurtful. But you know what? The ripple I make is way more important than a couple bad fucking stones. I'm sorry. I really feel that way. There are tons of women right now who are applying to work with me as apprentices that have never taken a class with me. Never, never taken a class with me. They don't understand what feral means. They're writing me going, I don't understand what feral means. I'm like, I'll just sit in for a year and come back to me about being an assistant. I think that's a better way to look at this. Okay. This is what we do. Each new moon is a new opportunity for you to reclaim your sovereignty, reclaim your sacredness, reclaim who you are. All right. Start using this moon. There's 13 in a year. It's a lot of fucking moons. That's 13 chances to not be a shithead. Who's with me? If I manage to not be a shithead in half of them, that's like a 50%, right? We need to pass like a 70 now. I don't know. I haven't been in school in a long time. You like a 70, right? So if I do like 9 moons really fucking good, I'll pass for the year. But what if you did 13 really fucking good? I know I just got goosebumps. My spirit guides are like, hey, never gonna happen, bitch, but you could try. So you need to try these things. And okay, so let me say something about spirit guides before we close this out, okay? You really need to talk to your team because they only work for you. They have no meaning if you're not talking to them. If you have imaginary friends, why are you letting them all alone? They're so sad. There's a new movie coming Ifs, and it's about imaginary friends, okay? Witches have a lot of imaginary friends. We call them spirit guides, but yet they're still imaginary friends. No one else can see them but us. And they're not here for anybody but us. Start talking to them. Start asking for guidance. You will receive it. It'll be signs. It'll be cosmic nods. It'll be things that you step back and go, holy shit, this resonates. And I challenge you in this. Pull a card for each season before you start the book. Each season, just one card per season. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Okay? Pull them. Write them in the front of your book. When the season turns, pull another 4 set. Use the same deck every time. See how much resonates for you. The idea is seeing the cosmic nod that carries through. You need to see the underlying golden thread that aligns you. There's going to be a card that aligns you, and it's going to fall in every fucking season. And you're going to be like, oh my God, that's it. That's the answer. There's your word of the year. Why don't you find it at the end of the year? I love that for us. And it will make sense to you. It will align. Because how many of us get to the end of the year and go, I don't even know what that all meant? Because we didn't document the whole way through. I mean, I'm not talking to you or anything, but yeah, I'm talking to you. Because like if I had a little mirror in front of me, she'd be like, you don't document right either. Because it's very true. There's moments that I go with the magic so hard, and there's moments that the magic did me so hard. And I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? Like, oh my God, who was that? And why am I like, apparently a one night stand? What happened? Like, you have to think about these seasons like this. Each one of them are a building block in your year. in your life experience, in your growth, in your magic. We're on an internal ladder of movement. Sometimes we slip. You miss a couple, you got wet feet, right down. Then you got to climb back up again. How many of you have been stuck that you just feel like you're climbing the same 3 rungs on that ladder? A lot of us have been there. Those ladder rungs are there for a reason. You're supposed to always have your safety on. You know, if you know any man that works in the blue collar field and they climb, they always have a harness. What are you fucking tethering yourself to? You need to tether in magical work. This book's going to teach you what season is your tether. It's going to speak to you and say, okay, this is home. When all else fails, go back to this section of the book and rework this, and we'll move forward then. And we'll move in that energy and we'll move forward to regain ourselves. You can be in the middle of summer and work winter energy. I did it. I pulled back so hard in June at solstice and I reworked that energy. And it was good for me. I did womb healing. I centered myself. How long was I away from you guys? 2-3 months? Centered myself off, worked on myself. That was totally winter energy in that moment for me. I secluded myself to get back, to regain my sanity, to move forward. Winter is that energy. So if you are all out of sorts and your chaos is beyond your control, winter is a great place to start. If you just want to celebrate all the fucking time, man, you are a summer girl. That is your shit. You are a party Barbie. You know, every night's a party. Every night is perfect. Sometimes Ken wants to stay over, but he can't because you don't know why he's there. You get it. You get it. Okay? This is the reality of this. You alone are responsible for your magical walk. I am merely a signpost. I am the map in Dora. Get your fucking backpack and Boots the monkey because here we fucking go. Okay? This book will lead us there. Through the next couple chapters, there will be a sign up in the Cauldron Cackle and the Alchemy Hearth. If you want to help lead a chapter, you want to help lead an exercise, you have some great prompts to help along, I want you to participate. This is our book club. First rule about book club is buy the fucking book. You thought I was going to say don't talk about book club, didn't you? Fight club. Fight club people. You're Fight Club people, aren't you? I'm Fight Club people. So first rule is buy the fucking book. Second rule, get a journal. Third rule, you better fucking read it. Are we clear? We need to read this one. And there is a Kindle version available for $2.99. That's dirt cheap for a book. And I know this one was really hard to get for some people. Keep an eye, thrift books. I will keep an eye out. If I find one, you'll see me throw it out. I'm like, hey guys, I got one. Let me know if you need it. You can PayPal and grab it. I've been having them on my watch list for when they show up used. Okay. So any questions, any comments, anybody have anything to add today? You're all like, holy shit, Sissy, this is not what I thought book club was going to be. Are you guys, go ahead.
I kind of have something to say, like talking about the whole soul retrieval thing. You know how you're supposed to bring in the past version of yourself and incorporate it in with your new self. What if you kind of don't want to do that? Do you think it's absolutely necessary to do that? What if you've thrown away those pieces that you lost?
I don't think our soul can actually be thrown away.
Mhm.
I think our soul can be fragmented.
Mhm.
And I think we can set aside parts of our soul. And I totally agree with you because there's parts of my soul I don't carry with. But I do carry the strength that part of my soul helped me develop. So I think those parts are alchemized into a new part to put into my soul. I kind of look at them like the cloisonne factor in Japanese culture where they add the gold. And I look at those parts of my soul as golden pieces.
That's
And I
really-
look at those as the primary glue that holds the rest of my shit together. Like last year, I got a beautiful Othala piece for my soul because it took me to this place where I learned how much importance that I had to put on my family unit. That I never really rationalized. I wasn't the greatest mom with my kids growing up. They will all tell you that. They are obviously open about that. But I think I've learned a lot through the past experiences of what's truly important. And I think there are parts of you that you will never really bring in, but I think you need to bring in the pieces that were created from that experience in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I really like that. Thank you.
And she does say in this book that if you experience things reading this that you need therapy or help, you need to get therapy or help. If things come out that you're not sitting well with, if you suffer from seasonal depression, you suffer from depression, witchcraft is not a replacement for actual therapy. You should go to therapy. I often tell my therapist to fuck off and hang up, but I go back. Okay. Like, this is what happens. But you need to pursue the medical side of this as well. We don't want to lose anybody in this travel. Is that understood? So if you're suffering and you feel like you need help, we will help you find somebody. And there's lots of support groups for lots of things, believe me. Chris?
I was gonna say, a lot of times what people equate with parts of their soul are actually wounds that need to be healed. So if it's rough, if you don't want to go there, that's not a piece of your soul. That's usually something from even a past life that needs to be addressed and healed. And then you can use that, alchemize that power into something moving forward. But it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with your soul. And that is, I made that mistakes when I was first starting out in my path, like in my 20s, where things I thought were pieces of my soul I didn't want to deal with, especially when I was recovering from drug addiction and had issues with alcohol. That's not part of my soul. That was me self-medicating and trying to get over things that I needed to actually heal and work on. And I did that through shadow work. And at the time I was seeing somebody for that, like a counselor or whatever she was, for help to get me through that. So think about it, make sure it's really more, make sure it is an actual piece of your soul and not an aspect of a personality or a characteristic or a wound. Does that make sense?
I think another thing that we should touch on, and the page had a huge access point on this the other day. We found the pagan recovery sources, and I actually bought the PDF. I'm going to actually put it in the Cauldron Cackle if any of you would like to read it. I'm working my way through it. I have a lot of other things going on right now, but I'm really working through that book. And it's not a Christian-based recovery program. It is a source-based recovery program. I'm working on obtaining a social worker and 2 drug and alcohol counselors to run a support group through our organization. I think it's important. A lot of women are here recovering addicts. Just because you are a recovered addict doesn't mean you're never not an addict. That lies within you, and you have to resonate in that. So when you sit on this and you sit in this energy, you really need to think about that. Does that make sense? So we will have that coming up. I'm hoping, my goal is to have that up and running by spring. I have to get some people into positions to do so. But I really think that having that access point with a weekly meeting, there are lots of weekly meetings scheduled there, but I know some of you would be more comfortable within your sister circle doing that. So that's up to you how you choose to do that. But if you are an addict or you're a recovering addict, you know how important that touch base is. It's very important to have people who understand you. And the number one rule is, in this book club, there will be no fucking judgment. I don't care if you don't like some. Okay, so I'm going to say this, and this is going to piss some people off, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say right now. I don't have to like you to be your sister. I have to love you to be your sister. And love is a choice. I may not like the things you do. I may not like the life you lead, but when you are my sister and I sit in a circle with you and I make that decision, I must love you and I must hold sacred space for you with every bit of my heart and intention. Make sense? So in the coming months, you're going to see some different stuff show up. And you're going to see people making comments on things. I don't want you attacking each other. I don't want you responding in negativity. If it's not something that you can tolerate, lead with love. Does that make sense? I have a real struggle leading with love. I am talking to you like from personal experience. Leading with love is fucking hard for me because I have an asshole that lives in heart. You know, that anger guy on Inside Out. Yeah, he lives back there. And he's like, "Rrr." Because it's not going to help anyone to do that in a small community where we're trying to grow. Correct? And we are now a small community, much smaller than we used to be. So let's take advantage of that for healing. Tasha?
I have worked on, I think it was summer into fall, I think it was when I first got it, but just to add to that, there are pieces that ask you to go back to your childhood as well. And I know that that can be a humongous trigger for a lot of us. So I just wanted to throw that out there. The little bit of work I did do, there was some regression exercises. And it was a positive regression, like to go back to like when you first touch base with elements or when you first notice things, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes going back into your childhood for some of us can be huge. So I just wanted to throw that out there. In that one section I did, it did ask that.
So here's all I'm going to say about that. You can't run from who you fucking are. It will find you wherever you are. If there's something in your childhood that really fucking bothers you, you're going to eventually have to deal with it. Or you can choose to live in the light and have that part of you closed off forever. That's your decision. No one can make you do something. No one can force you to do something. That's your decision. But if you keep running from the parts of yourself that are less than tasteful, eventually they will become front and center. It's poison. I talked about it in a cackle the other day. It's poison. There's going to be some prompts coming up in the Parchment Witch called Tasting the Poison. But what you have to understand is a little bit of poison will heal you in the long run. If you can't hex, you can't heal. If you don't know how to temper your darkness, it will forever overtake your light. Your true power is found in the dark. When you are able to walk through those spaces, maneuver the seasons for your need, create the sacred self of you, walk forward with your soul self, you're going to grow at a magnificent level. That's the point of this book. I didn't write this book. I wish I'd have wrote this fucking book. This book is, I love this book. It's beautiful. And I rarely say that about other people's books. Like this one, she hit this one. This is a great fucking book. But there are some things within us all that this book will help with. So I'm excited to take this journey with you guys. I'm excited to see you jump in. I'm excited to see you stick to it. Your stick-to-itiveness is really important in this one. Do you understand? You can't quit. You gotta make it through. Like I saw how the Green Witch went. I ain't judging, I ain't pointing no fingers, but that was pretty ugly at the end. I'm just saying. So if you start in and you move in, we're gonna move forward. So I'm going to set up the area in the Cauldron Cackle. I'm not going to make you have a stigmatization to go into it. But what I am going to say is you need to go in there, sign up. The Alchemy Hearth will have a place as well. You guys can be in there conversing, and I will put the requirements for the next book club meeting up in there. I know I told you didn't have to read ahead today. I thought we would cover it together, which I thought would be sufficient. But you need to have a book by the next meeting, a journal, and you need to have read up to at least page... I would say, let's look to page 58. Gives you quite a bit of time. Read through it. I didn't say you had to do all the exercises. I said you had to read. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions before we go? I saw Nicole's hand up and then she disappeared. Nicole, are you here? Unmute yourself. You can go ahead. I saw her hand and I was talking. Sorry. If you want to type it in the chat, we can do that too if you have a question. I just want you guys to all know that I'm reading this with you. This isn't just me throwing a book at you and saying, hey, you read this and we'll come through. This is a really important, Nicole, you can always write me on the Facebook page too. There's always a reason things like this align for us in the sacredness. Does that make sense? This book is coming at this time for a reason. And I want you to make the most work of it you can. Okay? Everybody's holding up their books. Hold up your books, everybody. That's so pretty.
Oh, we were asked to do it in the chat. Sorry, Sissy.
Okay. Yeah, it's an amazing, and I love that you can color it. Like that for me is just, I told Vicky I colored mine. She's like, oh, you did? I could feel the judgment in her voice. She's like, oh, you did?
Sissy, you said to read to page 58 and then
Yeah.
you said about the doing the exercise part. So from your perspective, are we going to be talking about and then going back and doing that, or are you just
You can do an exercise if it really resonates to you, you know, but we can go over them and work through them. We have till Star to get through this section, is how I'm looking at this. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Because the fucking is coming. Oh, yes, guys, that's what I'm going to refer to Imbolc as, the fucking. It's going to be the fucking this year. I'm not calling it Candlemas. It's the fucking. That's when the shadow work gets really hard. Winter's really deep. Shit's getting deep. You've been working through stuff. For some of us that have kids that are sick, that is definitely the fucking, like that time frame, February, everybody's sick and you can hardly go anywhere. So yeah, so we have Imbolc up to Ostara. So you have a really good time frame here. We have a lot of, if you read one page a day, you'll be able to finish this. You realize that, one page a day. And you're going to read more than one page a day because there's pages in there that are illustrated. So don't give me your bullshit. Okay? Doesn't count as reading a fucking page if you colored. Don't give me that bullshit. You forget I have kids and this ain't fucking Mickey Mouse, right? So we can get this done by Ostara, okay? So let's work through this. I will put the requirements up, or I'll have one of my admins put the requirements up in the event so we all don't forget. Me and all my personalities, and move forward.
Sissy,
Yes, Sandy.
I have the Kindle version, so can you tell me what's on your page 58?
Yep. Does the Kindle not have page numbers?
They don't rate the same because
Okay.
you can change the font.
Okay, surrender. This page is our 58.
Okay.
That's our
Thank you.
58. No worries. Is it the same or is it different?
I don't know. I can't have the Zoom meeting up on my Kindle
Okay.
on my
What
phone.
we'll
as
do
well.
is I'll take a screenshot and put it in the event, like the page, so you guys know what we're going up to for those of you on the Kindle.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to ask you guys is, when you look at this and you look at this in your work, I want you to keep this book on your altar when you're not using it. Now I'm going to tell you why. I find when I keep a book on my altar, number one, it's closer to my practice. It feels more. And I'm also more inclined to finish the task because I'm creating an alignment with me and my deity, saying, this is where I'm working and I need you to support my ass. So keep these close to your altar. If you don't have an altar, you can do that with. Just keep it close to your altar and really have it in alignment. I will be sliding mine right in by my bone antler decoration and having it in there, pulling it out when I work and putting it back. But your notebooks should pretty much be rolling with you because these will be ongoing tasks you're working on. Okay? And yes, you can do this with other workshops. Don't be a bunch of pussies, okay? You understand? Yeah, you can do this. You can do more than one thing at a time. You're women. I have faith in you. Like those men who applied. But what if I have the spirit of a woman, honey? I got more dick in my pants than you do. I'm sorry to tell you. I've probably had more dick in my pants too, but that's another story. So you guys take care of yourself. You're magic because you fucking say you are. We got a new moon coming up. Keep watching the webpage. There's going to be lots of things added this week. I have lots of things to go into the Parchment Witch. And there's going to be a new tab show up here shortly. So just hold your horses. I will see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.